Hi, Data Fam. Recently, I finished the Makeover Monday child mortality project. I have a map which is fairly interactive with this bump chart time series below. As I hover over each of the countries, I can see how the countries have been trending over time when it comes to child mortality. There is this play button I've used, and we'll get into how I designed this shortly after. But the experience is once you switch it on and play, it does a time lapse of the how it stands today. First iteration of the chart looked something like this. Get sucked up into the build process of the dashboard. A little about me. I'm Ojo. I'm a data fam since 2012. The idea is that anyone who's early on in their Tableau learning journey can follow along the steps and build something. And here is the data as we received it. This geographical field are the three letters code for the country. It was called code. I renamed it to country. The entity field I did not use in my analysis. There was a numerical field called year. I changed it to a date field by clicking on the icon in front of it. And you could do that with the country as well. I assigned it the geographic role of a country and region. Once I did that, the next there is a lasso tool that I used to group the countries into region. I added it into a group. I edit the group, rename it to Oceania. And similarly, I kept lassoing around Africa and the Middle East and created this region group, which looks like so. So we have Asia, we have Africa and Middle East, we have Europe, Oceania, and Americas. When I throw this region into the color shelf, then you can see how the regions are panning out. Remove the region from there, move this around, remove the background, leave just the coastline. I do not, I threw that into color. I didn't want to use the summation, so I used the max value. I changed the color palette. For the color, I used something that is red. I dragged year into the pages for my animation, the time lapse. Set it to fast. I know 1985 was the time when all the countries came into the data, so I picked 1970 just to give me that kind of a feel, test it out, how my colors are looking as a filled map, and it's looking good. So this map is pretty much built. The next one is the trend chart. So year on the columns, continuous, and then the max mortality rate. This should right click and drag so that you can choose the max now that we know how it works, and then drag country into the detail, and then the country group, which is the region, into the color. I intentionally used colors that are not red or reddish in hue so that the users do not confuse the look and feel of my saturation in the map and confuse it with the color legends of the regions. So that was something that was important to me. The next thing was to make it into a bump chart. So quick table calculation, use rank, edit the table calculation, make the country and the region. That will give the trend over time as a bump chart. Edit axis, reverse. So essentially, the ones with the highest mortality rate would be at the top, and those with the lowest mortality rate would be at the bottom. Most of the countries that are doing better with the child mortality are the European countries, and then the ones which are struggling with a high mortality rate are the African countries. I'll clean up the tooltips. I will use the format to clean up the grid lines, the zero lines. I will hide the header. I will edit the formatting here. Edit, take away the year, it's quite obvious. And once I'm satisfied, I will also take a quick look into the map, make sure that these tooltips makes most sense, clean it up a little bit. Now, when it comes to stitching it all together, I used a vertical container through. Once I've stitched them together, it's time for taking a look at the actions. I'm using a highlight. Why? Because as I hover over each of these countries, my bump chart over time should highlight and vice versa. So this is an action, highlight action. So dashboard action, add action, use the highlight action. And this is how I wired it. When either of the charts are hovered over, they will action on each other and they are going to highlight the country that we are hovering on. Easy breezy and simple. Hope this makes sense. Looking forward to your feedback. Take care and bye now.